start off with what Boosie was saying, because there was people online that felt like that might be hypocritical as a parent. You was doing all this stuff as a kid, and now you basically trying to basically say your kids can't smoke weed. Rose, I mean, my bad, Juice Man. I see that your face is scrounged up. What's your thoughts on what Boosie was saying?
I was always taught do what you say, do what I say,
Mm-hmm.
and not as I do. Like you know what I'm saying? Like I'm grown, you a child. You know what I'm saying? I can't see me allowing my child to smoke if they're not of age. Once they get of age, if you want to smoke, cool. But if they're underage, nah, they can't smoke. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to. You know that leads to trouble. You know what I'm saying? And then like you say, about the gateway, I hear it, but it's more that it's the law, man. Like you need to say, we need to follow the law. You need to be upstanding citizen. You need to be doing the right thing. You know what I'm saying? It's more ethics than anything to me with that situation.
Um, yeah, I mean, I feel you on that. I will say this. I ain't gonna say it's hypocritical. I will say for you to promote that behavior in your music, for you to go on podcasts and live with that debauchery, and then say, "Oh, but I don't want my kids to do it," but you're promoting it to other people's kids. I do kind of see the hypocrisy in that shit, Juice Man. To be honest,
True,
you
true,
know,
true. That's when it becomes hypocritical. But we're not talking about another person. We're talking about his kids.
yeah, no, no, no. I feel you. Like these is his kids, so he should be concerned about like his son's well being and his sons like growing up to be well, good citizens and stuff like that. But I
Yeah.
will say this, like even with the phrase "do as I say, don't do as I do," I'm not gonna lie. Like I grew up in a church where my pastor he would tell the adults, "Nah, kids, watch what you do.
That is
Don't just
true.
tell them stuff.
Yeah.
You need to be living this. So don't just tell them the gospel. You need to be living the gospel in your home." So I feel like that's another thing that, especially in the black community, we got to kind of get away from. We can't feel like it's okay just to tell kids what the right thing is. We should be living the right thing as best as we can. Nobody's perfect now, but we should be doing our best to be trying to live the right thing. And when we talk about our past transgressions, we should talk about it in a way from a learning experience and not like we're promoting it.
Right.
Like, yeah, man, when I was your age, I used to get high all the time. That's all I did when I was 14. Go in the corner to your uncle house, or to your cousin, your older man, we smoke weed all day long. Like you shouldn't be like promoting it like it was fun, to your kids, because then they like, okay, cool. And then
I
you
want
tell
some
them,
ice
but I don't
cream.
want you to smoke. I don't want you to smoke though. But just because I did it when I was 14, you don't need to do it. Hold up now. You just told me all the fun you and my uncle and my older cousin had doing it, but now you telling me I can't do it.
You got to be careful with your words.
Yeah, it's definitely in the wording, but it's also in the sincerity because he worded it the way he felt it. You got to pay attention to these people on social media though. Like these kids already embody that behavior. That's how they carry themselves. That's what they live around. So that's where the hypocrisy comes in, is because your kids are not going to show you something that they're not seeing. Your kids are mirrors. They walk around,
Facts.
they copy every single thing you do. Listen, I be with I be with these little mentors, right? And you see they behaviors that their parents have, but like in a childlike version of them. And it's cool because sometimes I'm like, I bet your mom was just like that when you were younger. Like they have that already in them, but they see it because they watch you, right? Sometimes you'll be like, well, I don't know where you get that from. They get it from somebody, but whomever they get it from, they're sponges. So it is hypocritical. And I'm a Boosie fan, and I like Boosie music, but I'm also adult and mature enough to realize just because I like the music don't mean I'm gonna go out and do these things. His kids live the way he rap about. So I don't see where he don't already see that happening to be able to put stipulations in an environment that you keep them in. That's kind of crazy.
Yeah, Boosie is probably not the person that needs to be giving parenting advice to.
Right.
Because what he said, when I was 9, I got my dick sucked by a crackhead, and when my sons turned 11 or
I
9 or
was just thinking
10.
that too. He said that too, that he paid for his sons to get their dick sucked,
Yeah, so it's like,
But then
and,
you don't want them to smoke. I don't understand. That don't make
but
no
they
sense
can
to
lose their
me.
virginity.
and he smoked, and anything about like you smoke around, like if you don't want your kids to do certain things, you probably shouldn't do it around them. You can still do it, but you probably shouldn't do it around them. I talk about it all the time when I was younger and I used to smoke cigarettes and smoke. I never did it around my kids once they got into that kindergarten because they was like they learned like, hey, that kills you. And like, no, I don't want you to die, Dad. So I never did it around them again until they was of age where they knew what like 16, 15, you know what I'm saying, 17, 18, you know what I'm saying?
Understanding.
Yeah, so it's like that's the thing about like with Boosie, he's on TV smoking, that's all he does is smoke.
And he got older kids. We're not mentioning the older siblings that are already outside of his household smoking, making music videos, smoking. Like, you got older kids that are already doing it. So what group of kids are you talking about? You talking about these babies? Like,
Yeah,
these
talking about
babies
his younger kids.
These babies ain't even thinking about that right now. You making contracts for babies while you already got at least 4 of the kids already outgrown adults smoking around their siblings. I don't understand what we talking about.
I think that part is very important right there because you got you got some teenagers, but then you got kids that's in their 20s and shit. And so what? Do the kids in their 20s not stop smoking weed when their little siblings around? Do they be like, oh, well, my dad don't want them smoking weed, so I'm not gonna smoke weed around them?
They just don't do it in the big house.
Yeah,
they do it in the other houses.
You know
what I'm saying? Because they all got houses on the land, so it's like you can't do it in this house, but they do it in the other house. But they all they gotta do is ride the 4-wheeler down there, but you just can't peace. And you just can't do it over here. You know what I'm saying? But when you come back into this house, you gotta take a piss test. So what happens when the piss test come back positive? What you gonna do? Yeah. Boosie, what you do, Boosie, after that?
And it reminded me of a bit that Dave Chappelle did a couple years ago in one of his trio Netflix specials that he did at the time. And he said that he was on the road, came home from being on the road, went in his kid's drawer and found some weed and rolling papers and smoked his kid's weed. And he said, I felt sad. And he said, I wasn't mad at my son because all I do is talk about smoking weed. But if I felt like there was an innocence that was lost. And I can understand that from a parental standpoint. Like, yeah, there's an innocence that might be lost because now your son or daughter is smoking weed. But at the same time, you do have to understand.
Whose innocence? If the child is already doing that, there is no innocence there anymore.
The parents'
innocence.
The parents' innocence of the view.
Yeah, how they view
right.
them.
Yeah. So that's important too.
Yeah. But he also expressed, he understood, yo, I'll be a hypocrite. I smoke weed. I promote smoking weed in my stand-up bits. I have movies talking about smoking weed. What I look like telling my kids, like punishing my son for smoking weed and being like, that's an issue. And I feel like that's something that a lot of times we don't really talk about in this part of the process. What Boosie was discussing is we're not even trying to hold ourselves to a certain standard. Like, it's different. Like, if you have a kid, I'm overweight, for example, and I'm like, you know what? I see my kids getting overweight. Hey, son, we're going to work out together. We're going to stop eating fast food together. We're going to have a better life together. Instead of me just saying, yeah, I'm eating this double whopper of cheese and these onion rings and this chocolate milkshake, but you need to eat that salad because I don't want you to be fat like me. Heart disease and high blood cholesterol and all that running our family. So I don't want you to have to deal with the stuff I'm dealing with. Like, yeah, he going to hear that shit, but then he going to look at me like, but that fat motherfucker still eating a double cheeseburger. Like,